now, this one, I spent an hour on the House floor this week. No one wants to take on Goldman Sachs. Does it surprise you that I was willing to take on Goldman Sachs? This week on the floor, for the first time, I managed what was called a special order for 1 hour, which means I got to pick the topic, and then I got colleagues to come down and have can't even say it right now, colloquies with me on the issue, and it was on Goldman Sachs. So one of the things we did was we took the principles that Goldman Sachs has up on their website and compared that to their actions. So here's one. We stress creativity and imagination in everything we do, while recognizing that the old ways may still be the best way. We constantly strive to find a better solution to our clients' problems. We pride ourselves on having pioneered many of the practices and techniques that have become standards in the industry. In an email from Goldman's VP, this is Fabrice Touré, this is the guy I call fraudulent Trav. This is what he said in his email. Standing in the middle of all these complex, highly leveraged, exotic trades he created without necessarily understanding all the implications of those monstrosities. He's talking about himself here. It's like a little Frankenstein turning against his own inventor. He called his Frankenstein creation a product of pure intellectual masturbation. The type of thing which you invent telling yourself, well, what if we created a thing which had no purpose, which was absolutely conceptual and highly theoretical, and which nobody knows how to price? This is going on in Goldman Sachs by the guy they credited with making them a truckload of money. A guy who was planning on retiring at age 30 because he was going to have so much money. Honesty and integrity is another one of their principles. Integrity and honesty are at the hearts of our business. We expect our people to maintain high ethical standards in everything they do, both in their work, for the firm, and in their personal lives. Late last year, in a profile in the London Sunday Times, Goldman's chief executive, Lloyd Blankfein, described himself as doing God's work. In an email in 2007, again, Mr. Touré described the mortgage business as totally dead, and the poor little subprime borrowers will not last too long. Yet 2 months later, he boasted that he had managed to dump some more of those worthless mortgage securities on widows and orphans that I ran into at the airport. I mean, this is more than vile. These are people that have no respect for the American people, have no ethics, and no willingness to be part of the solution. Yes?
Why don't they have a code of ethics? I watched it on C-SPAN, and they asked them specifically if they had a code of ethics, and they all ducked and weaved.
You know that little 2005 change in the law where they don't have to have a fiduciary duty? That's what it's all about. I mean, imagine. This would be like a doctor who does open heart surgery on you, even though you're about to die, and then takes a life insurance policy out on you. I mean, that's what actually went on in Goldman. For John Paulson, their client, he says, you know what? These were called synthetic collateralized debt obligations. There was no there. They just took these bad mortgages. He knew that 90% of them were no-doc mortgages, kind of packaged them together and say, go out and sell them. And then I'm going to short them. And I'm going to pay you $50 million for your service to do that. And they did it.
But Jackie, you guys let them do that.
No,
I mean,
he wasn't there.
I'm not saying you, but Congress. This is exactly. I mean, this is what the greedy people on Wall Street did with the blessings of Congress.
I agree with you. That's why I show you the cracks in Wall Street.
Even in Goldman, look what the Sandlers did. The Sandlers were the ones that put all those reverse mortgages and everything, and they're sitting here in San Francisco on $2.5 billion that they made off that deal. Nobody's even going after them.
Well, actually, you know what? There's a different story on the Sandlers. If you read The Big Short, the book by Michael Lewis, he talks about the Sandlers, and they wouldn't do a lot of that stuff. It wasn't. I don't believe it was them. It was the company that they might have purchased that was doing that kind of thing. But in any case, to your point, that's right, and that's why we need financial services reform, because we basically have to put in place a lot of what was taken out of operation years ago. So what does the new financial services reform bill do? Let me just go over that real quickly, then I'll answer all your questions. It's on the Senate side right now. They're about to engage in debate on it. The good news is, because Senator Lincoln has got a tough race in Arkansas, all of a sudden she went, as the agricultural chair, she went from not wanting to regulate derivatives at all to beating the administration's interests in wanting to regulate them. I mean, she's gone overboard, not in my view, has exceeded what the administration wanted to do in regulating derivatives. All derivatives have to be totally transparent. They have to be on an exchange. They have to be run through a clearinghouse. If you don't have that, you don't know what you're dealing with. And they say, oh, they're all sophisticated purchasers. Yeah, everyone's a sophisticated purchaser. They don't even know what they're talking about. And in the end, it's Granny that gets hit, because she's the one that's got her 401k that now is worth, half. And I have so many friends who retired recently who are now desperate because what they thought was going to get them through their, quote, golden years isn't enough. How dare we ever create an environment where that can happen again? So, derivatives are going to be regulated. The question is her proposal now going to be watered down on the Senate floor? There's going to be a consumer financial protection agency of a sort. The question is it going to be independent or not? I think it's absolutely necessary for it to be independent. We've got to have a cop on the beat for you and me. If we don't have a cop on the beat for you and me, then all the shenanigans is going to happen again. I mean, all the stuff on credit cards. You pointed out, we finally fixed it, but we give them 18 months so they jack